a lot of the time Tom will drag me to concert. He's definitely got a more he definitely knows a lot more bands than I do. He goes out a lot more out of his way to like almost like wine tasting for music. Like, I'm sensing a strong vocal presence here, and like.
That's what I'm like. Yeah, you'll either get me like that at a gig, or you'll just have me just singing my lungs out.
Yeah.
I love it. You need to start kind of a review podcast or review page of bands, comparing them to wines. Yeah.
That would be a brilliant segment, actually.
You could have a.
I think we might. I managed to break my mate's nose. Well, not break it. I managed to just a little bit, just dislodge it a little bit, just from a kick. Like, can't do this to the nose. So I literally just kicked him there, and he just went, I can't smell anything. He was all right in the next couple of hours.
I kind of feel like when we do get down south and you do get to see us live, we're going to have to establish some boundaries. Certainly don't want any broken bones.
Definitely. I'll make sure to be safe.
Now, you see, that is disappointing because I was planning on jumping up and hitting you with an F5, so you've completely ruined my experience already.
If you managed to do that would be like when Brock Lesnar F5'd the Big Show and the ring collapsed. That's what that would be like if you
I've already booked a referee and everything. I was going to take your title. It's going to be great.
Obviously, you've got that new acoustic track coming out very soon. Have you got anything else coming out soon, like an album or something yet?
Well, I can say we certainly have more music coming out. I won't specifically say in what format or formats.
Okay, hello. Welcome to episode 2 of the Uncentered Podcast. I'm still Riley, he's still Tom, and today we have a special guest. Woo!
We are joined by Joe and Chris from Coral Snake.
Hello, good evening.
Very nice to meet you both.
And you.
Yeah,
finally put faces to names.
Yeah. So, Coral Snake, I think I only found out about them a couple of months ago, really. But from what I've heard, you two are just very, very talented.
Oh, still making us blush.
But yeah, I still need to catch a gig. So
yeah, we need to get down south, don't we? Yeah,
definitely. I just realised that you two are on. I think you two are doing a gig literally the week after. I'm up in Newcastle, so
typical.
Typical. But thank you for joining us here.
I know it
means a lot. But let's get on with it. So what I'm thinking of is, how did Coral Snake come to where they are now?
Right. How long have we got? Is it just an hour?
Hour and a half. So
yeah, we've got an hour and a half.
Right. Okay. Where do we start?
Sorry. Donkeys years ago, me and Joe were in a band, just doing the local circuit, and that went all sort of disbanded in 2016. Obviously, we were great mates, so we jammed a little bit. Had no real intention of doing anything.
About 3 years, really, didn't we? Just on and off. Just kind of didn't really have any projects going as such, did we? I dabbled in a few things and kept my toe in the water, but
just going with the wind.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But no real intention of doing anything really either. I mean, I think I don't know about you, but I kind of thought that, like, well, we gave it a go, it was all right. So I didn't really, life was taking over. Didn't really have any intention. And fast forward to 2019, was it?
Yeah, summer 2019. Yeah, probably about 3 years. Exactly 3 years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd a really good friend of ours, Matt, who's bassist in the previous band. Joe had been playing songs with him, just sort of like jam and stuff like that. And then I moved house, so I had him round for a barbecue, and kind of all just decided there and then, didn't we? We're just like, all right, should we do something?
Sounds quality.
Yeah. I'd kind of been jamming with Matt. Probably for the best part of a year, really, or so after the other band disbanded, and kind of, not like wrote songs and stuff as such, but I'd like some good jam sessions, and yeah, we kind of thought, yeah, there's some bits there, and we'd met Jamie, our lead singer, rhythm guitarist, in the previous band. We met him in about 2014. He was doing like his own solo project, which he still does as well. And yeah, we actually entered a battle of the bands together locally.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
Yeah, there's an amazing review online of our old band and him. I always ask for the link because I forget what it is, but it's a really good laugh when we want to look back and see where we've come from. But yeah,
we try and find it now.
Yeah, we really hit it off that night, just generally as friends. Like we all have the same kind of view of the night. We're just it's a gig really. We weren't like desperate to win the competition or anything, but it was just nice.
Just did it for fun.
Yeah, just have fun. Yeah, and we just got on really well. So yeah, we remained friends for those few years. And then when we went to put something together, I mean, I don't know whether you guys play in bands or have ever played.
We've tried.
There's always
Tom,
members it's hard to come by.
Yeah, Tom always he's a big visions guy. I mean, considering we're here, and so he was like, "Oh yeah, like let's get a band together. I know someone who might do bass. I know someone who might do drums. I want you on guitar." And I was like, "Okay, so you're gonna sing?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Great. So the bassist,
I'm gonna try to sing."
So basically, what we had, a bassist that can't bass, a singer that can't sing, and a guitarist that can't guitar. And he was all ready to like buy a little garage. And I was like, maybe we slow a bit, but like, let me play Wonderwall first, and then we can move. Like,
yeah, that sounds a bit like me, to be honest. But yeah, it's like, there's always one member I think that's always hard to find, whether it's like a band looking for a drummer or a singer or a bassist. Like guitarists, you can come by, I think, quite easily.
Kind of penny.
But yeah, there's always seems to be one. But luckily, we kind of had that between us, just naturally through that friendship. We kind of had all the members there. So yeah, we had this barbecue. We all got together and we just basically approached the idea of it. Do you want to jam, get together? No pressure. Just see how it goes. We'll learn a few covers, basically. That's what we did.
Yeah. What I did want to ask is, you said that Coral Snake officially like kind of got set in stone around 2019ish, right? So obviously, only like a year after that, COVID hit. Like, how did that impact everything and stuff?
Massively. I mean, it wasn't even a year after we sort of got together tail end of 2019, and we had our first gig January 2020, and then we did like 2 covers. Like Joe said, we learned a load of covers, and we just sort of like did a couple of covers gigs to see if we still had it.
Test the water,
yeah. And we had our first originals gig booked in for the 19th of March 2020, and it got cancelled because of COVID. So basically it stopped there and then because of COVID. So we didn't really get off the ground in 2019. So although we formed in 2019 in inverted commas, COVID got.
It definitely impacted a lot of musicians. COVID, like I have noticed not only with the music industry, but also with the film industry. Like we've had such an onslaught of releases this past like year or two, where everyone's had unfinished projects that have been stewing since COVID, that now they are ready to finish now that restrictions are a lot more light and stuff. So we've just had an absolute onslaught of like music and just media in general of like projects finally finishing and being released now.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's obviously the same with music as well. I think when you see a lot of bands releasing stuff now, the story behind the recent albums and things is all like, we started writing this before the pandemic, or we wrote this in the pandemic. It's it's almost like you still can't escape from it. Like, but it's at the same time it's good that things like that have happened through it. Because like a lot of people did suffer. Bands actually disbanded. Like,
quite a few.
Yeah, rubbish. So
I think just the stress of being like shut in for like that large amount of time, it can like easily disband bands and stuff, especially when like you can't be in playing all the time. Like it gets difficult, like especially when you're in your own like 4 walls for literally 6 months. Like everyone went a little bit insane in that time.
Definitely. And I think especially for the bands that actually relied on it as their income as well. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
I think there's a lot of bands out there that, I guess, like in our shoes, very fortunate. We have day jobs and stuff, but we do this outside of it, and it's nice having that balance. But I guess there comes a time, perhaps, for a lot of bands where they decide, right, do we do this full time? And I guess the ones that did that, they're the ones that truly suffered from it.
Definitely.
It just sucks, really. So, yeah, we can't complain too much that we got put on hold. But yeah, we like to say, I guess we've been going properly for like just over a year since really coming out of lockdown, because prior to that, we didn't really.
Yeah, you really like playing Trillions.
Yeah.
I know you really like playing Trillions. I was meant to go there back in April, but due to a gig that we were going to, we didn't get time to. But we've heard it's such a good we've heard it's such a good place.
Oh, great venue.
Yeah, it's like the place, I think, in the Northeast for your rock music. And we to the back end of last year, we were desperate to play it, because it's just like, it's one of those local venues you want to tick off your list and say you've played. And obviously, just with the backlog of everything, like, it was hard to get a gig, wasn't it? Obviously, so much had backed up, and obviously loads of people wanted to play it. Then we've ended up playing it, like, I don't know, about 4 times this year. Thanks to just, a couple of gigs and the Metal to the Masses competition that was held there. So yeah, just kind of when you go from playing none to playing 4 times. So we'll give that a bit of a rest for now. But yeah, it's a cracking place, definitely worth visiting.
So where does Coral Snake take inspiration from? Like the main kind of like sound of it? If you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good question.
I've heard, from what I've heard, you sound similar to Alter Bridge, like one of my top favourite bands.
Yeah, so like we each have our own sort of different influences. Like I'm a massive Guns N' Roses nerd. Jamie's big on his Nickelback, and the one common theme through us all is Alter Bridge. We're all massive.
You can love them. Such a good band.
Greatest band out there.
Alter Bridge. Me and Tom, we brought this up on like the pilot episode of the podcast. But the first concert me and him went to was an Alter Bridge concert.
Nice.
Like I'd went to a concert before, only one, and it was an Imagine Dragons concert, so barely counts. But
can't comment. Never seen them.
And obviously Tom had been before, and that was our first concert because he loved Alter Bridge, and I at the time was a massive Shinedown fan, who happened to be in supporting. So we went, and like I also kind of fell in love with Alter Bridge. And now Miles Kennedy is, in my opinion, easily my favourite singer. Like, he's got a very one-of-a-kind voice, Miles Kennedy, and like he utilises that really well, I think.
Oh, 100%. Like when people ask me, "Oh, what's your favourite band?" and I say Alter Bridge, like who? And I'm like, man, how do you not know? Like, he's got probably one of the most iconic voices in the last, 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
It's just
like,
it just goes to show, doesn't it? Like the switch of rock from, I guess, 40, 50 years ago to now. It's just not focused on that, commercially, and it's not marketed as much as other things these days. But that's just the way it is. But yeah,
it is coming back. Luckily, it's all coming back now.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. It's starting to work its way, which is great. Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. There's definitely been a revival.
What year was it you went to see them with Shinedown? It wasn't like a few years ago, was it?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, right before lockdown. 02.
London.
Yeah, so did we.
Oh, wow.
You're joking.
Yeah, so there's actually little claim to fame here. So at the end of that show, I took a picture of them, and they ended up using it on the socials.
Really?
So, yeah. I'll send you it after this. Yeah. So we went to that gig as well. It was the first time we'd been to the O2 as well.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that's like that'll be. Well, that was my first time going to the O2 just for a gig there.
Yeah.
That was brilliant as well.
Yeah.
As much as we was like really high up, but like you could see it perfectly no matter what.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cracking venue. Yeah.
I mean, it's got a bit of wear and tear now, but I got this shirt when we went, just at like the merch stand, and it's held up decently considering it's been a good 3 years.
Yeah.
But I think you have to get a t-shirt when you go to a concert.
Yeah.
It's kind of like part of it.
Yeah.
That's always on my list. No matter what, I've always just got to get a t-shirt.
I think that's my biggest life regret so far. We saw Alter Bridge at the Royal Albert Hall with the orchestra. And
Wow.
It cost
That
a bit
is
of money
like
to
a
get
dream
down
for
there,
me.
so I didn't buy a t-shirt. You did, and I wish I bought a t-shirt. I hate myself.
Was that the one that didn't they record it? That one?
Yeah.
Royal Albert
Brilliant.
Hall gigs, they're always just so good. Like another one of my favourite bands, Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
They did recorded at the Royal Albert Hall, and the songs, they're just so good recorded in there.
It's amazing. That is one of my favourite ever albums. That, and
Absolutely.
I'd known of them before that, but I never listened to them. And it was that concert and listening to that really got me into them. I listened to that pretty much daily, tracks off that.
Absolutely. I don't know if you listened to the other one, but they also recorded a few live from Maida Vale, and it's so good. Like they did almost an acoustic version of Drowned, and it was such a beautiful track. Like the original was great, and with the more harmonizing vocals and stuff. It was massive. I thought it was almost an improvement on the original track. Just because it was a lot more beautiful and built up in a way.
Yeah, I think they do that really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you're into kind of some of their heavier stuff, I think they've got some superb songs in that.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about them is just how versatile that they are. Because you have Ammo, you've got Ammo, and then there's Sempiternal, and that's one album in between, which are very stylistically very big jumps. There's still remnants of the bass genre there, but you can tell Ammo they've tried to be a lot more experimental, a lot more production and stuff. Whereas Sempiternal was a lot more new metal. So, and they've found a way to incorporate both of this here, and it really works for them. And it's something that I think more artists need to explore, and more artists have in recent history, exploring just more produced rock and metal, because it adds a whole new element to the genre, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think kind of when you kind of their I guess status and in their journey, they can kind of replicate that well as live as well, so yeah, I don't know if it's ever something we would go down. I appreciate it. Chris is sat here going don't know what they're on about.
Yeah.
Not his cup of tea whatsoever. but yeah, no, I back to kind of the influences thing. Me, I'm kind of so much stuff really. I'm the cheesy pop scale to kind of
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not not extreme metal or anything, but probably Machine Head's probably my hardest I'll go. Maybe some Lamb of God, a little bit of that. But I don't delve much further than that. So I like to think I have kind of a broad range of influences from pop to kind of the heavier end of rock.
Just to level it out a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's good for a drummer as well, because it's you can. I think that's the thing about drumming is you can actually incorporate a lot of styles into kind of any song, and I don't aim to kind of do anything particular in what we write. I kind of
just go with the flow.
Yeah, Jamie and Chris do their thing, and I'll put something to it, and you kind of you just have ideas based on what you really. So yeah, we work well together really in terms of influences, and we don't shoot each other down on anything if something's not working. Just we can talk about it, we can suggest different things, we can go, oh yeah, it sounds like that song, and we'll instantly know what each other means. So
yeah,
you've got the feeling right if you're feeling Alter Bridge. That's what we wanted to go for. So
yeah,
Bridge, Blackstone Cherry kind of vibes, definitely.
Love Blackstone Cherry. That's such a good band as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to see them next year when they tour the Darkness.
Yeah, got our tickets.
What one?
Leeds.
Yeah, Leeds.
I think we're going to try and do London. So
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but we've talked about the past and like how obviously you lot came today. What do you see yourself in the future with like Coral Snake and all that? Like, honestly, personally, I'd hope to see you at Download one day.
It's a dream.
That's the dream, isn't it?
That's the dream.
Yeah, that'd be the dream, 100%. I guess you kind of say things like that, don't you? Think, oh yeah, what, you got a headline Download, and it's like, no, we'd just love to be able to say like you've played Download. Like, how cool is that? Sure,
Yeah.
One of the big stages would be great. Obviously, that's like ultimate dream. But even just to say like, yeah, we played Download Festival. That's
still just
classy in itself, isn't it? You've still played it at the end of the day. Like even like the emerging stages, the cracking. There was a local band, wasn't there? Years ago, called Sirens in the Delta, and they've since disbanded, which is a real shame. Because we knew them through our previous band as well. And they just went on this trajectory like this, and then for whatever reason, unfortunately, they disbanded, but they ended up winning some competition and they got a slot of Downloads, and we went to see them. And they opened up I think it was like a Sunday, the small stage, but it wasn't a small stage, it was a huge tent and it was packed. And yeah, man, so even like then they've got that memory of that. Like, it's just, yeah, that'd be cool to see from that.
Yeah, I'll definitely get tickets to that one if you're definitely there. So I need to see you live. That's like the main thing at the moment. Like, I think one of our friends' bands, I think they didn't headline. They played on, I think, the main stage 2016. I think it was.
Right.
I think they did at least. I can't remember. They're called The Treatment, and this was up before. This is up before they had like their current singer and current bassist. But they were. I'm good friends with their guitarist at the moment. So, but I'm pretty sure they played at Download one year, and that was before I'd ever heard of them.
Yeah.
But they're still not good. Luckily.
Yeah. No, it's. Yeah, in terms of, I mean, I guess they're kind of, not necessarily once in a lifetime goals, because obviously you can do it many times.
Just on the bucket list.
But just to be able to say that, like have those ticks, like, it'd be class to play at the Royal Albert Hall. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a slightly more, longer term goal. But I guess kind of just in general, it's, to say you played things like arenas, that in itself is really cool. Or to say you played, a few of the bigger O2 venues, like, I guess you can always kind of have those longer dreams as such and work towards them. But for sure, like, we essentially just, want those kind of more established venue gigs, really. That's kind of the next step for
just
us.
like the bigger venues.
Yeah, we've had a little taste of it with a couple of the gigs we've done. And it's just a totally different. It's almost like a totally different world, and not to discredit any grassroots. Like, everyone starts somewhere, and I guess without them, there'd be nothing really. They're absolutely key. But when you kind of experience that next level venue of like, wow, this is what it's like to kind of have a team of people looking after these things individually, and you work to these timings, and you've got to be really professional. And, of course, we're always professional, but just to kind of be in that environment, it's something different. And you go like, I could get used to this. This is pretty nice. So I guess just to experience more of that, like in the next year or two, that'd be.
Yeah, I think it's about being realistic.
That'd be brilliant.
It's about setting manageable goals each time. Yeah, the end goal might be Download Festival, but it's about where can we go next. And that, as Joe's mentioned, we've had some pretty big gigs already, some great opportunities, and we've got a taste for it. It's about building that sort of fan base and following so that we can continue to play those venues and then the next level. And it's almost like a snowball effect kind of thing. So, I mean, we've only been realistically gigging for a year.
Yeah.
And we've opened for Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, which was
Chris Barris.
amazing
That was
experience. Chris Barris' band, that
kind of
was
venue
phenomenal.
today,
There's a place called Boiler Shop in Newcastle, which is just an amazing music venue.
You managed to play the Riverside yet?
No, I haven't played it. No.
That's a good place.
Yeah, it's a canny little venue. That
Yeah. But I just want to go back to how you've opened for Phil Campbell. I think that's something that's really good about the rock and metal scene, is how if you can pay to go see this artist, and you will come back liking these artists. Whereas in the hip hop scene or something, you'll go to their concert, there will be opening acts, but you'll probably see the opening acts and go, okay, now this. But I feel where it's a lot more consistent in a rock and metal concert, where you'll go, oh wow, they were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I want to see them again. Because me and Tom, we went to a Fozzy concert back in December at Chris Jericho's band, and that's where we first saw The Treatment. Unfortunately, we didn't ever get to see Chris Jericho actually sing due to his throat problems. So he played us the new album all the way back in December, which was pretty crazy, considering it didn't end up coming out until April time. But that's when we first heard The Treatment, and we were like, wow, God, these are really good. And Tom's seen them twice since then, and I've seen them once more. So it's definitely a great way of experiencing and finding new bands that you wouldn't have found otherwise, I think.
I think that's the amazing thing about rock and metal fans. They're hungry for it. They want, they'll go and see.
They just want it all.
Yeah, they'll go and see a band that they like, but they're totally open to supporting, and that's just
absolutely.
Rock and metal fans are the best fans in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely experienced that, haven't we, from those gigs? I'd say, I mean, the Phil Campbell gig was probably our, dare I say it, maybe fourth or fifth gig of last year, really. And that came about from a previous gig and connections, and someone really liked what we did and had the connections, and and we got that gig, and then from that gig as well, there was a few, I would say obviously quite a lot of people there, but again, surprised by us, going, oh yeah, where are you from? And, oh yeah, we're down from Teesside, Stockton, Middlesbrough area. Oh, I live there. I've never heard of you. And it's well, yeah, you probably haven't, because we haven't really been going that long and we haven't done a lot of gigs. And, from that have come, a good handful of people who, are constantly engaging with us, keeping tabs on what we're doing online, coming to gigs, and, consistently coming to gigs, not just coming to another. They've been to, a good 2 or 3, and it's just off the back of that gig. They never came to see us. And like Chris says, that's the beauty of it. I think, I guess, I don't know, I can't maybe comment too much on other genres, but definitely what you see with, I think, a lot of the rock and metal scene is that people are always looking for something new. And I don't know whether it's that whole live musician element of it, and bringing it all together. It's not any kind of tracks, it's not a lot of samples and things. Again, not discrediting that, it has its place, but I guess in the rock and metal scene, people are just used to kind of musicians in your face, guitars, drums, bass, good singer, they're sold a lot of the time. And that's I guess what we find with these gigs, and that's really cool, because you can walk into any gig, you might have no fan base in that town, nobody's heard of you before, and then you have people coming up to you after oh yeah, I really love what you're doing, can I get a t-shirt?
Me and Tom are those people who come up to you.
Yeah, no, but it's cool. It's not an ego thing, it's just really cool that you've gone somewhere, nobody knows who you were, and they appreciate what you're doing. And I mean, that's how any band in the world has ever started and grown. That's what it's about.
It just makes you feel good when someone comes up to you and says that you did well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just nice to have that appreciation that someone actually likes what you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's your music is a product, and it's something you're proud of and you want to showcase to people, and you want those people to come back and buy a ticket and invest in you. The same way a business would.
It's what it's for. We don't make the music for ourselves. I don't sit at home and listen to Coral Snake. I hope that fans sit at home and listen to Coral Snake. So to have feedback that they're liking the music is it's incredible, because that's what we're doing it for.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think something that definitely with like the three of you in front of me, you'll all agree. Concerts. I love any concert. However, if I had the choice, hip hop concert or rock concert, I would see a rock concert because it's more. It's always better. Like as much as like I enjoy like a very wide range of like music, like hearing rock and metal, just like hearing all those instruments being played in front of you, it's just it hits a lot more.
Mm.
Like, and you end up having, and there's always a better community as well, and you always end up having a better time, even in like a smaller venue, than I've found myself having at like a hip hop concert, because like just your surroundings is usually a lot better, and it definitely punches you more.
Yeah.
A
It's in
rock
the
concert.
fields. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Isn't it like, I don't know. I guess I've only really ever been to pop concerts or rock shows really, but I guess even like in pop shows they have that show element of them as well. And I don't know, like I can't say I've ever been to like a hip hop concert, but I don't know, maybe that's part of it as well. Is the kind of there's something about like a rock show, like the energy on stage, and
Absolutely.
you know when the band's enjoying it as well and into it, you kind of like you feed off that. And yeah, like you say, it hits you in some way different.
I do think, especially in like late 80s, early 90s, like around that era, performance was at like an all-time high for concert. Like you always watch back with people like Motley Crue or Kiss, like and like some glam rock artists, just with these absolute like, amazing like sets for their concert. Like they come correct. They're like, right, we have 45 minutes. This is going to be a movie. And like I feel like that element is not as prevalent today anymore. Like a lot of the concerts that I've been to, it's been, oh yeah, we have a few flashy lights and we'll send some confetti off at the end. But like, but back then you had like full like, oh yeah, so this is a desolate city, and we're gonna tell the story for our track list here. And it's just kind of, we don't have that art in concert as much anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess the reason for that is probably that they're having to make their money from the concerts much more than like, back in the 90s, you're making money off record sales, but now it's all streaming. So
That's
a lot of these artists are making their money off the concerts. So if you can strip your show down and not have a ridiculous number of pyrotechnics and flying saucers and stuff, then you're going to make more money. We saw Guns N' Roses a couple of weeks ago, and not a single pyrotechnic in sight, was there?
Yeah.
It was just all about the music.
Not at all.
Superb show, but no explosions or confetti or cannons or anything like that. And it was a stadium gig.
It wasn't too bad of a show. It depends on what one you saw, really.
We were at the Friday one.
Oh, I was at the Saturday one.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my brother was
unlucky.
as well. We thought we got shortchanged, so he's got even more. Yeah.
As much as you lot were sat in line till about 5:30, we were sat there for about an hour and a half waiting for him to get on.
Yeah, it had its troubles, didn't it?
At least we didn't have Glasgow.
Yeah. All weekend it had its troubles.
Yeah. But then in contrast, we went to see Alice Cooper at the beginning of July. What a difference. I mean, it was Alice Cooper and The Cult, wasn't it? So, like, two huge artists in the world of rock, and The Cult were just very straightforward. They're not about the show or anything. It was just really well performed live music. And then you've got Alice Cooper, and he's got like a fake castle built on stage with a giant baby running around, Frankenstein monster, and giant beach balls.
Bonkers.
It was just mental.
Superb.
Exactly what Iron Maiden's like.
It's just the contrast. It's just mad. But then you kind of think, well, if you had like, a modern day Alice Cooper starting out, would you logistically and realistically be able to do that in your early shows? It's
not really.
No. So it's kind of like it's a product of what he's become and what he can do. So like I agree. Like for me, it's like I do love going to see a show and remembering a performance, but I guess it's all relative to the venue and how the night runs. When bands get 20-minute changeovers, you can't wheel on your your set, and
That is very true.
it's all relative, but yeah, I'd like to think we could get to a position where you kind of have that freedom at least to decide, what you want. And I think I don't know if you remember from the Alter Bridge one, but I think they had like a whole light show behind them and projectors, which I don't think they'd had previously. So that was kind of new, and that's, I guess, kind of the way like modern shows are perhaps going, isn't it? It's more about the digital visuals, and it's probably a lot cheaper to run a tour like that.
Definitely. I mean, we've got them at the end of the year again, so it should be good.
Plus, yeah, that's a hell of a lineup. It's like a mini festival.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Eddie Van Halen's son.
Yeah, it's going to be wicked. That
it's going to be it's going to be mental.
Yeah. Funny, literally back in lockdown, I remember there wasn't anything else to do. I was in lockdown, so I was just sitting in the living room, and my dad was like, "Have you ever heard of WVH Mouth?" And I was like, "No, never." And he was like, "Yeah, they've just released like a little EP, and it's like Van Halen's son. I reckon it'll definitely be your stuff." So I listened to it. I was like, "Oh wow, like this is really good." And then, like, to be honest, I didn't listen to them every day. Like, they don't have a massive like discography. So I listened to them, and the more I listened, they kind of faded out a bit. And then when Tom was like, "Want to go see Alter Bridge?" I was like, "Yeah, definitely." But who is opening? And he was like, WV Mammoth. And I was like, "Oh wow!" Like, yeah, I know they're really good. So, like, a lot of the time, Tom will drag me to concerts. He's definitely got a more. He definitely knows a lot more bands than I do. He goes out a lot more out of his way, like almost like wine tasting for music. I'm sensing a strong vocal presence here, and like.
That's what I mark it. Yeah, you'll either get me like that at a gig, or you just have me just singing my lungs out.
Yeah.
I love it. You need to start kind of a review podcast or review page of bands, comparing them to wines. Yeah,
that would be a brilliant segment, actually.
You could have a.
I think we might.
Good pun.
Might start it. I might take it into consideration.
Definitely.
Yeah, Tom, that can be your segment. I've got my one note for every song on insert album here. You can have wine tasting a band. It'd be great.
Could have it for every episode.
Definitely.
That's, in fact, yeah. That's, by the end of this podcast, I want you to describe us as a wine.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
For someone that doesn't drink wine, I'll try my best.
Yeah, Tom, you've got a nice hour and a half here to have nice sips of this wine. I think by the end you'll be fine. So
definitely.
Yeah, but this is not really on topic at all. But I am quite curious. I think most bands, every single band will have songs that never ended up making the final cut for one reason or another. Like, do you have any songs that you wrote, maybe even like fully like recorded and stuff, and then was like, "Hey, nah, not feeling that."
I guess the beauty of modern technology is you can kind of record stuff yourself and make that decision before you commit to actually professionally getting something recorded. So no, we haven't done that, but we've worked on stuff and gone and just sidelined it or gone that's for later. So it kind of, the process of writing in the 21st century, especially over lockdown, we were sending ideas to each other digitally and stuff like that. But the process of doing that almost created like a filter in, because you had so much time to process what you've been sent or what you were working on. You kind of filtered it out before it ever got to that stage. So I'm not saying that might not happen in the future, but we haven't actually got anything that we've had professionally recorded that we've sort of not liked because we wouldn't have gone into the studio unless we thought it was worth recording in the first place, because we do our own like demos first.
Yeah, like, I guess the music we've released so far, probably like 80% of it, or no, 75% There's 4 songs, isn't there, that we've released so far. That's bad. I work with maths for a living. That's terrible. I said it. So.
I don't. So
But yeah, so like 75% of those songs that we've released so far, like their origins started like almost some of them 6 years ago. You know, prior to us actually getting together and working on them. So they're quite like, you know, in a way old in themselves. And then, yeah, like since then, there's stuff that certainly we've started where we've maybe started working on it, but then gone, no, we'll put a hold on that because of, you know, X, Y, and Z, or because actually, no, that's gonna be like some epic, you know, maybe like 8 or 9 minute track that, you know, might not suit where we are now, but we know it's there and it's got the origins. So yeah, like we've definitely got stuff. We don't just kind of, I guess, just churn them out as such. We look at them logically and go like, right, what's realistic in terms of where we are. So there's definitely plenty of
it's got
ideas
to fit in with our strategy for us to consider releasing it. But there is stuff we do have in the bank, sort of thing, that it's just not ready time yet. But we have a self-filtering process, don't we? So usually that's based on, would this actually serve a purpose to us right now? I guess releasing a 9-minute sort of Guns N' Roses style epic probably would be a bit bonkers at this stage.
Our November Rain.
Your Bohemian Rhapsody. Your big piece.
Not yet, maybe for an album in the future, we'll see.
Speaking of albums, obviously you've got that new acoustic track coming out very soon. Have you got anything else coming out soon, like an album or something yet?
Well, I can say we certainly have more music coming out. I won't specifically say in what format or formats. But yeah, no, like if you've seen what we've released so far, we've done singles, and it's basically something we're going to continue with. So yeah, we kind of looked at all our options and whether we should do an album, whether we should do EPs and all that, and it's kind of like things have changed a lot in the industry. Like I guess not only in like the last 2 years, but actually in general in the last 10-15 years with the way music's consumed. And one of the things we found when looking into this of how best to do things was basically singles, and the more we can keep giving to people to keep them on board, because attention spans, mine included, are shocking these days. So yeah, the more we can do by giving people music, the better for us, really. So we've got this acoustic one coming out, which is a acoustic version of a previous single, which we just generally thought worked well, suited it. So it's not like we have acoustic versions of every song, just play them on a acoustic guitar and call it acoustic version. Like we have genuinely worked on this as an arrangement and sat down and kind of mixed it up a little bit and changed things. So yeah, that should kind of show nicer, different sides to us. And then there's how many have we got? About another 5 recorded. Yeah. So we've got at least another 5 recorded. We're working on another 2 at the moment. So yeah, there's plenty of music coming. But yeah, we want to treat each release as its own. It's kind of own individual party, really, and centre things around it. We could do an album, but it's like, for me, it's not just for me, maybe. Obviously, I don't decide everything, but run it past these guys as well, and it's kind of like, well, what comes after it? You could do an album, but in this kind of market at the moment, it's like, well, then what? Are you relying on an album to take us somewhere or get us something? And it could, but equally it could not, and it's a hell of an amount of money to record an album, let alone market an album. So yeah, just the way we're doing things is single by single. So yeah, by the time the next release has died down, we'll have another one ready to go, and so on. And there's obviously like stuff around that between gigs and things, and there might be some cool little things as well that come out in between those releases. Maybe you'll know about in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Keep an eye out.
I love it when you're cryptic.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely be keeping an eye out. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
But what you're saying, how you've got like an acoustic coming out soon. You posted a snippet on Instagram, like the other day or last week, and it sounds really good. Like from what you've posted so far, I personally really like acoustic like songs. The best way I can describe it, really like it extracts the lyrics a lot more to the original track. Like, because like when you've got this track, it could have like some really meaningful lyrics, and sometimes that can almost get drowned out by like the guitar. Not like the guitar or anything is bad, but it can almost get like the meaning gets drowned out by all these like heavy guitars and the drums and everything. And so when you have an acoustic with like slightly more raw vocals, less going on, it kind of like it makes you focus kind of on, this is what I'm saying, like at least in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well it sort of, with there being less in the mix, as you've sort of alluded to, it kind of emphasizes the melody as well, which sometimes you can have a beautiful melody hidden behind a wall of guitars and that kind of thing. I think stripping it down to its bare bones kind of highlights whether it's a good song or not, I guess. Hopefully you think it is, but I'm like you, I absolutely love acoustic versions of songs because you can really hear the sort of building blocks of that song.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I think, or I hope that's at least kind of what comes across with this version. It's not the most like lyrically heavy song. Where if you do listen to the original that we released back in December, but yeah, I think like Chris says, like it the way we've kind of rearranged it and made it more kind of like vocal centric and showcasing Jamie's voice, really. I mean, it's not necessarily the intention, it's just kind of how it naturally came together as, well, let's just keep it really stripped back, and we want to add these little bits in here. Maybe add these instruments in. I played the most stripped back drum kit I've ever played, which was really nice, just to kind of add something to it, not necessarily it be about, having the drums in. And we like to think it starts a certain way and then it builds kind of like the track does with the full band, but just in a slightly different way. And I personally love it. I think it absolutely just shows Jamie's voice.
Definitely. It makes it all sound really good.
Yes. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I love a good acoustic version.
I'm not one for acoustic, but I do like quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm more just like straight to the point. I just like my hard rock music.
Yeah.
But I don't mind a few acoustics.
Yeah, I like when it's done. I think when it's done right, and like you said, the song like Alter Bridge, one of my favourite Alter Bridge songs is "Watch Over You." Absolutely love that song.
That's such a beautiful song.
Before I'd even seen them live, that song was just
that is definitely a top 3.
But seeing that live acoustically is it's something else. It's it's just one man and his guitar, and it sounds incredible. And you're just more focused on it. So I think when it's the right song, definitely.
Yeah, for me that's definitely like a top 3 Alter Bridge song. For me it goes probably Indoctrination, Watch Over You, White Knuckles, and they're like peak Alter Bridge songs in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't get me to do people. I just can't, because I'll say one and then I'll go, oh no, that.
I could do you a top 50.
I could probably do a top 3, but they're nothing to what Riley's is. Mine are just all heavy, so mine are probably Isolation is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Probably Waters Rising, just because Mark Tremonti's voice is just
so
that would be and Cry of Achilles is still such a good song.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair, like second and third can be interchangeable with most of their discography, but I just know White Knuckles is definitely my favourite Alter Bridge song. Like I think the whole way that song, like it comes together, it's just such a an epic piece. Like it's really good in my opinion.
Gonna listen to it again after this. I think. Yeah.
I might have to listen to the album now.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to the B-sides album?
No, I haven't.
I don't think
That
I
is
have.
worth a listen. Like, so I like some of my favourite songs are on that. Yeah.
I'll have to give it a listen then.
Definitely worth a listen. It's the live at the O2.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've listened to that.
Yeah, about 6 years ago I think it was released. But it's got B-sides on it. And there's some bangers in
I
there.
ain't seen that.
Yeah, so good.
I believe I've skipped a question. I didn't even notice I skipped a question.
He's
But,
organised, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm always unorganised. But I've got. Well, I was supposed to ask it when I was asking what like the origin of Coral Snake was. I was just going to ask, what's your go-to favourite music like, at the moment? Like, what's your go-to music?
Do you know, probably the stuff I go to the most, and like, are we talking artist?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, probably the two I go to the most, like individually, is actually probably Tremonti. First album, I can listen to that on repeat all day.
One of the best albums I've known.
Yeah. And probably that Bring Me to the Horizon at the Albert Hall. That I could just listen
It's good.
to that. Like if I'm in a particular mood, they're the kind of two that I focus on a lot. Other than that, like I just have a tunes playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I just recycle the same tracks, 200
Same.
tracks.
Yeah. I try and listen to certain stuff, but it's just like I've just got a big old playlist I just play.
I'm kind of similar, but I have like a weird obsession. I will make playlists for very, very specific instances. Like I'll have a playlist for like walking down the street feeling proper good, and I'll have a second walking down the street feeling okay, and like I've got about 50 just all in a similar vein. Like songs I want to play while walking out of a car in slow motion, and that has like 50 songs on it, and I will shuffle that only whenever I'm about to get out of a car, and it works beautifully.
Try this.
See, I'm an album guy. I don't really playlist. I'm old school. I like to listen to an album all the way through, and I won't skip a track. So I guess it depends what mood I'm in. You know, some days you wake up and you're just like, yeah, it's Appetite for Destruction today. But some days I'll wake up and it'll be some Stevie Ray Vaughan or some Led Zeppelin. You know, it's just entirely dependent. Like, obviously, I'm the guitarist, so I'm big on sort of guitar players. So I like some George Lynch stuff, like Lynch Mob, and massive fan of Tremonti. But it's kind of just, I don't have a go-to thing. It just depends what mood I'm in, and it can be like I listen to some flamenco music, some Paco de Lucia. So if I'm in the mood for that, I'll just pick that up. And I don't really have a go-to except for Appetite.
A bit of everything.
Yeah, I can always listen to Appetite though.
Yeah, I always like it. Go ahead.
It is a good album.
Yeah, I do always like it when a song from the get-go will like proper punch you, because I'm a boxer, so I'm always looking for the next song to walk out to, and so you need that song that from the moment like it's gonna go boom boom, and like everyone knows, oh shit, like he's about to like come out proper. And so I've always said the same from like to Tom ever since before my first fight. Whenever I have a title match, I'm coming out to rock you like a hurricane. And it's gonna be the best. It's gonna be like the best moment of my life walking like into that ring. That is one of my favourite songs because it's just so like, especially like the chorus and just the build up to the chorus. It's just such a he means it proper type of thing. Like it's a really good song. But I like to think I do have quite a diverse taste.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. A Guitar Hero 3 track. And I know exactly what you mean. I know it's that whole build. It's class. Yeah, I can picture it in my head trying to play it now. Yeah.
No, it's funny you mentioned like something actually, because we have discussions about like wrestlers intros and stuff like that. We used to watch wrestling back in the day when we were kids, so like in the 80s. But
I mean, I still do to this day.
I can't manage
Still double, yeah.
Yeah, but like obviously Metalingus and Edge and stuff like
Yeah.
that. We would love one of our songs to be picked up by a wrestler. It'd be so cool.
That'd be brilliant.
Just while we're on the topic real quick, do you think there is any like song more iconic for like being an intro than Metalingus? Because I think Metalingus is the most iconic intro song ever. All right.
Ooh, I mean,
apart from maybe Cult of Personality as well, that one, like you hear that, it's very instantly recognisable.
Yeah, this is kind of why like I almost wonder why people go, "Oh, who wrote the bridge?" Because it's like, well, did you grow up as a kid watching wrestling? Because if you're my age, you probably did.
Exactly.
It's like, how do you not know?
Yeah.
So yeah. Obviously, there's memorable, I guess, intros, but as an actual, I guess
it's a proper song.
Song.
Obviously, when you hear that Stone Cold Smash Clash, But as an actual song that's come from a real artist, it's got to be Metalingus.
I couldn't.
Definitely.
I could certainly name and recognise wrestlers' themes, but definitely that's got to be by far.
Yeah, obviously Triple H.
Biggest themes, hasn't it? But on the theme of this, we actually a couple of weeks ago were back in the practice room writing, and we wanted an intro, didn't we? To a song, and we were like, "Oh, give us something like Metalingus." So I started playing something. You started writing a bit to it, and we're like, "Yeah, this is a wrestler's song. This is 100% a wrestler's intro." So when that comes to being recorded, we are absolutely going to market that as a wrestler intro.
I'll tell you, if it gets released by October, then maybe it'll be my next intro music. So
there's some pressure.
I do only pick very good songs for my intro, at least in my opinion, what are good songs. Last time I came out to Kill the Noise by Papa Roach, because it's a very, like, from the beginning, it proper, like, bang.
Yeah.
And then for my first fight, I came out to Shadow Moses by Bring Me the Horizon, which worked so much better than I expected it to. Like, it was really good.
I thought it was just going to be like the starting couple of seconds, and then I thought it was just going to finish.
Yeah. But in a few weeks I have another one which I need to pick an intro for, and then maybe in October you'll be my intro. So.
Well, there'll definitely be more on the table by then, so you'll have plenty to choose from.
Definitely.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, it'd be so good.
I could picture it already.
Yeah. like a Metalingus style is coming from the back as I walk in would be immense. Like,
hey, we should come and do it live.
Yeah, sounds
Even
good.
better.
But then I have pressure to win, which I can't guarantee. So.
Oh, no, that's wicked. There you go. That's also a little dream for the future.
Yeah.
A wrestler theme. That's what we want.
Definitely. That's definitely on the table now.
Yeah. So any wrestlers watching or people that know wrestlers, hit us up.
I know a couple. I know a few.
Perfect.
Yeah, come on, Tom. You went to 1 week of wrestling training. You're more than qualified.
One day, actually. Thank you very much.
Sorry, my dearest apologies. Oh.
Yeah.
Tom, you've always been a massive wrestling fanatic, haven't you?
Always. I think in the past couple of years, I've been to about 4 events already.
It's one of those for me. Like, I think it was because I would probably be still into it quite a bit had it not been like the Sky channels owning it, because I used to get like recorded for me as a kid because I didn't have Sky, and I'd like watch it at the weekends on VHS. For anyone listening that's young, like VHS was instead of a DVD, tape.
Do they know what DVDs are?
Sounds sore, doesn't it? But yeah,
Don't worry, I had one when I was little.
Yeah, I used to catch up on it that way, or like watch it. I think you could maybe get it on Sky One on a Saturday morning. There was like a highlights thing.
Yeah,
but then like
and the Royal Rumble was on Channel 4 every year.
That's right, yeah. And then I don't know, just like didn't have the Sky Sports and all that entered in. Yeah, but I still like dabble in it, like there's like younger kids in the family like have kind of kept up with it, so I've always kind of dipped my toes in it. But, it's cool watching the classic stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, good that Edge is back now.
Yeah.
Definitely good that Edge is back, and he's changed his music as well.
Yeah. Another Alter Bridge song though, which was good.
It's still another Alter Bridge song, but it's still a good Alter Bridge song either way.
Yeah.
I feel like Edge is now like at a stage where he is like inseparable from Alter Bridge. Like he's become so iconic with Metalingus that they can't just go, oh yeah, everyone proper loved that, so let's give them like Nickelback or something. Like, they have to stay with Alter Bridge now. Like they've got to be very firm in it. But in my opinion, wrestling these past few years, like specifically WWE, has went really downhill. Which part of that is definitely down to lockdown and everything. But I think because of lockdown and financial issues, like very blatantly, they've made some really poor decisions and let a lot of people go that they shouldn't have. Like when they let go of The Fiend, I was like, what are you doing? Like you've let go of Bray Wyatt, who you were shaping up to be your like next big Undertaker, and your justification was, oh no, we don't want him to be just like the Undertaker. People loved the Undertaker. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, a lot of them have gone over to that AEW, haven't they? Yeah.
AEW has really taken off. Right.
Yeah,
definitely. I seem to think it's all because the owner's dad owns, I can't remember what football club it is. It's like he owns one football club and he's like a multi-millionaire.
Oh yeah, absolutely loaded. I think he's another billionaire.
Yeah.
It's, I guess it's I don't know. It's the business world, isn't it? Things shift, things change. As it had its heyday, it's it's a shame, but it's good memories.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Me and Tom, once we became close, I was in like year 5. He was, I don't know, and he'd come round every now and then, and we'd always just like play wrestle on the trampoline, like most kids did, to be fair.
Just piss around.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd like full on script routines. And I remember one time, probably one of the lower end of smart ideas for me. We thought,
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, I thought, hey, I can't really be bothered to go outside. It's raining. Why don't we do it in the living room? And I remember he was setting up a power bomb, and I was meant to like go under him, and I slipped, and I just battered my lower back in. And it was. I realised from that moment, there is a reason why they tell me not to try this at home, isn't there?
Yeah,
that's what the thing's for, but no one tends to listen to it.
Yeah, I used to do the old Brock Lesnar F5 on people in school because I could pick people up. So I used to just like pick people up, squat them up, and pretend to F5 them. So it didn't work for me either. It's just what you do, isn't it?
I got my nose broken in a double choke slam.
Oh, ow. I mean, to be fair, like the most, it ain't even graphic. The most major thing I've only managed to do, I almost broke my ankle in a mosh pit.
Yeah, but at least you managed to break your nose in like a relatively respectable way. Like, oh yeah, got double choke slam. This is how I broke my nose, right? I was two years of age. I was in my living room, just spinning like a normal child, with a blanket on my head, like a normal child, and I tripped, and I smashed into the TV, and done my nose in.
But in your defence, you were 2 years old. I was 18.
And now I'm sorry. I don't think it gets much more rock and roll than that. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't see Ozzy Osbourne doing that. Like, I reckon I'm like peak metal here. Like, I'm an innovator, truly, ahead of my time. Oh god. Yeah.
There you
Only
go.
bone I've ever broken though. So.
Well, it's me. Touch wood. Never broken a bone in my body.
So came close, but I came very close. But never
Oh,
broken
I
a
had
bone.
once, but no, just a bad sprain.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I did a good couple of months ago. Turns out I just dislocated my shoulder.
Oh, God, no, I've never even done that. Never even dislocated. Touch wood.
It's still fine to this day, luckily. So
Yeah.
Careful, mate. Too careful. It's all right when you're dishing out the moves. When you're on the receiver, obviously it must be very different.
I
Did you realise? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I managed to break my mate's nose. Well, not break it. I managed to just a little bit, just dislodge it a little bit, just from a kick, like kind of near to the nose. So I literally just kicked him there, and he just went, I can't smell anything. He was all right in the next couple of hours.
I kind of feel like when we do get down south and you do get to see us live, we're going to have to establish some boundaries. Because you certainly don't want any broken bones.
Definitely. I'll make sure to be. I'll make sure to be safe.
Now, you see, that is disappointing because I was planning on jumping up and hitting you with an F5, so you've completely ruined my experience already.
And if you manage to do that would be like when Brock Lesnar F5 the Big Show and the ring collapsed. That's what that would be like if you managed
I've
to
already
F5.
booked a referee and everything. I was going to take your title. It's going to be great.
The stage would collapse.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely evident why you shouldn't try it at home.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries.
Yes. For anyone listening that's irresponsible, don't listen to us.
Yeah.
Do not try it at home.
I think every single one of us have told a horror story of wrestling gone wrong so far. So. There is a moral to that story somewhere.
But yeah, we definitely need Coral Snake down south very, very soon.
Absolutely.
I don't really want to make the 3-hour journey all the way up.
No, we wouldn't make him do that. No. You're not the first person to say so. No, we are now looking at some gigs further afield for sure. Like we've, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we've always tried and approached places, but I just think with coming out of lockdown in the last year, like there's been so many that have been shows that have been put back where people had already obviously, committed to other bands and stuff, and rightly so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been that free market as such further afield. So I think now, we're getting into the back end of 2022, aren't we? So yeah, we're definitely starting to look at some venues much further London and
Lafayette in King's Cross is definitely a good one.
Oh, the Lafayette's a brilliant venue. Like,
as much as we've only been there once, it was still a good venue anyway.
Yeah,
great.
I'll be quite handy. King's Cross.
Yeah.
Down on the train, off, play, back home.
Taking a drink.
Sorted.
Should there be an in-house kit? It'll be fine.
It was a great venue, even though I did have a bit of a horror story when I was there, because basically what was happening is we went to see The Treatment, and this was before they were on. It was the opening acts on. I was like, I need to go to the toilet. So I walked in, and I didn't realise there were mixed-gendered bathrooms. And so I walk in, right, and there's just 2 women. I'm like, oh no. So I leave, I look around, and then I think, okay, this must be the men's. And it's the staff room, and I'm like, oh, shouldn't be in there either. So I'm like, where do I go? And then I see another bloke walk in, and I'm like, oh, he's either really dodgy or it's mixed gendered. And it turned out to be the latter. So, yeah, that was definitely a confusing moment for me. It's definitely a brilliant venue.
That too. Yeah. Go with it.
Definitely.
And then also, where was it we went to see Fozzy, Tom?
O2 Academy, Islington.
Yeah, Islington, I thought it was. That's a brilliant venue. I think small venues, in my opinion, I would rather go to a smaller venue that has like 100, 200, 300 people than the O2. Because as much as I love seeing all these massive names, I do like having the sense of community, like where like the person next to you're at Barrier, the person next to you are like, oh, I've been following these guys for like 2 years. I think they're really great. It's only a matter of time, and like you build friendships when you're at that. When you don't as much, at least I don't think so. When you're at these like big concerts at the O2, because there is like just more of a strengthened sense of like you're like me, you like I know you like you like what I like let's talk. Like every concert me and Tom have been to, I think Tom will agree. We tend to meet people and stay in touch with them more if they are at like the smaller venues, and that's even going down to the band members. Like in the smaller like arenas, like we like speak to band members. I mean, we're not like best friends for life or whatever, but we'll speak to the band members and stuff. Whereas like you wouldn't catch us after a Bring Me the Horizon concert. Like, hey, yo, Ollie, my very close personal friend, how have you been? Like, so yeah, there's definitely a very like strength and sense of community, which is why I prefer it personally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we definitely see that, and I think I don't know. Again, I don't know whether that's just like a rock and metal scene thing, because those type of gigs are more, I don't know, happen more maybe in those type of venues, and kind of have the opportunity to mingle with people more. But like one of the best gigs we've been to, I still think arguably probably the best, was we saw Alter Bridge at the Royal Albert Hall, but then a couple of days later we went to see them in Edinburgh at the Usher Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah, Usher Hall.
So they'd just gone from like doing, whether it was previous year or that year, Arena Tour, they'd done like Download that year. Then they did the Albert Hall, which is, I don't know, it's about 5,000 cap or something. And then to this Usher Hall, which was, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand. And it's like an old like theatre, and it was really small, and they did the meet and greet there as well.
Yeah.
And it was just like having seen them like at a massive arena and somewhere as prestigious as the Albert Hall, you think like they're going to be amazing, and they are. But that gig, we were front and centre, standing in the stage at the stage, like pretty much like one or two back from the barrier. And I think we got talking to someone there and just had a class night, and it was just so intimate, and like probably the closest you'll ever see them. With, in that type of venue, because even at arenas, you've still got the barriers and they're quite high up. This was just like, they were just there in front. It was amazing. So
I seem to think,
small venue.
I seem to think in the like rock and metal community that everyone is just so friendly. Like, especially in mosh pits, like you'll definitely get like people that will like, either fall or just get like accidentally pushed down, and they'll just instantly stop it and just get them back up. That's just respect.
Yeah. I think that's it, isn't it? The outside of you that a mosh pit, it's a horrible place. It's like, no, it's just something that happens, and people.
It just looks really brutal.
Yeah,
but like if you're actually in there, it's like it's a pretty good environment.
Yeah.
But
definitely a caring community. Yeah, we're not
definitely
not as scary as people think.
But we've only got a few more questions here. So, out of the songs you've released so far, do you have like a favourite that you've released so far, like, or do you reckon they're all on a like equal pedestal?
I'd say my favourite's Pierce the Heart.
That's my favourite as well.
Possibly because it was first, but we got a great response to that. We got played on like Planet Rock and stuff, and so it felt kind of special. But also, I think it's the one that kind of sums us up the best. It's fairly short, punchy. It describes our sound perfectly, and obviously that's why we released it first. We had a couple of others. We had Slow Motion recorded at the same time, actually, didn't we? But we chose to release that one because it kind of just summed us up, I think. And I think that's my favourite. What about you?
Yeah, and see, I'm terrible for picking favourites because I like them for different reasons. So like, exactly the same Pierce the Heart. it's probably the one I'll listen to, and I'm just like, I just love everything about it, and I love performing it live. It's cracking.
Oh yeah, but then I'd say like for me, I prefer playing Waiting in Line live because it's really, like more like bluesy.
Yeah, it's more groove
to it, which as a guitar player I prefer playing. So I guess there's different reasons, but as a release, it's like that.
But it's funny, like the very last thing I did before I had to try to like faff around with all my like a microphone and equipment and stuff, I listened to Pierce the Heart because I was like, I need to get in the mood, and this is the one. Like, this is my favourite.
Go-to.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very go-to track.
Web of Lies is my favourite at the moment. At the moment. Until
that release surprised me actually. So, I mean, that was written a long time ago, and we did it in that format because we were like, I don't think we're ever going to give it the full sort of studio treatment. We wanted to try this, playing it live in a studio and recording it differently, so we decided on that one. I wasn't sure what the reception was going to be, and it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, like for me, it's one of those songs that I've always enjoyed playing, and playing it live, we sometimes switch it up a little bit and do an alternate ending where it's kind of like a long guitar solo outro. It's about 2 minutes long, but we didn't want to do that for the single. And actually shortening it how we have and recording it in the way we have, it's like it's fast become the song that I can't get out of my head. So for me, it's like I love that one the most because I love the chorus in it. I think it's a great chorus and a great melody.
It's a really good chorus.
Just sing it on repeat. Yeah. But then I also love Slow Motion because of the outro. Because when we put that together, we had kind of a moment of like, whoa, when we first did that together. And that, so like I kind of love everything for their own little reasons.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to choose a go-to, it's probably going to be Pierce the Heart.
But I'd say Pierce the Heart, but actually maybe my favourite recording is You Haven't Heard Yet. Watch this space.
It's funny. This is really specific, but my favourite things in songs, regardless of the genre, is when like a line is being performed and the instruments all cut very briefly. I don't know, it like when it really like they do that, so it really like punches that line. It's so good. It always hits in the right place, like for me. So that's my very specific thing that I look out for in music, definitely. Because it just kind of scratches an itch in the back of my brain, of like, and like all the instruments playing, and all of a sudden it all just goes bang, bow. Like it's got a really big like a big punch to it.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Yeah.
I mean that's what we were going for in Waiting in Line before the guitar solo, wasn't it? And just that punch you in the face when it comes back in.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we got that across.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's what I think I enjoy about like I think how we write together, like regardless if there's kind of like a full song pretty much there or an idea, is like we're always thinking kind of like just how to put that little bit of pizzazz or whatever in it, that just gives it that something. And then like even when we've done stuff and written stuff, when we take it to the studio, we always end up doing something in the studio as well that's different, like with the producer that we work with and have worked with on everything so far. Is like we're always open to ideas, and he'll hear something different to what we do, and he'll suggest it, and we'll put it in, and we'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds class. Yeah, let's just do that. So it's definitely look for that in everything we write. Just that little moment in a song.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking forward to the new releases whenever they eventually come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the bottom of my questions. Tom, you got any more?
I've got the closer question, so can always do that now.
Just before that, But when I say I'm at the bottom of my questions, let me read you out exactly what my list of questions is. Oh shit, you forgot to write the questions, just wing it, it will go great. And I've had that note open for the entire hour and a half, so I think I've done a decent job.
I love it.
Good improvising.
Actually, I'm going to ask you a question before you ask us a question.
Go ahead.
On your wall in the background, they're little characters.
Oh yeah, the pop.
Pops.
I collect pop vinyls. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a hobby of mine.
Very neat and tidy. Yeah, it looks good.
Definitely a number ordered.
All unopened?
Yeah, of course. So they lose value if you open them.
Right, very good, very good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it definitely blew up over lockdown. I just really started just collecting. I had nothing else to do, so I just like order them all up.
I would turn my screen right now to show. Well, I would turn around my screen right now to show you my collection, but behind my screen is just very messy.
He's a Marvel collector, so he'll only collect the Marvel Funkos, whereas I like to have like a good mix. I've pre-ordered some Stranger Things ones as well, which should look pretty good up there.
You'll get on very well with Jamie. Jamie is a Marvel fanatic.
Oh, we'll need to get him on sometime, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, once your band and our podcast get really proper big, we'll have a big reunion podcast. It'll be great. And we'll be like, this is where we started. We told you right here on episode 2 of the Uncentered Podcast that we're going places, and this is us in those places. Like,
hi, future us.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. I'll make sure to play this whenever you come back on. Hello.
Congrats on the download performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I really enjoyed it when you performed at the Royal Albert Hall, actually. So, yeah. So is that it for your questions? Or?
Oh, I've got one more, which is seemingly going to be the ending question for every single interview we do.
Okay.
Music-wise, who would you want to team up with in like a big collaboration?
Ooh. To actually write something together, yeah?
Yeah. Like write and perform it together.
Collaborative piece.
Wow. So, that's a heck of a question. I mean, the temptation is to say, "Oh, Bridge," but I can't contribute anything to that. I'm not.
Actually, Thomas just lied. I thought of another question.
Mine genuinely, as much as the heroes work with heroes would be fantastic. From an actual musical perspective, I would hands down love to work with the Parallax Orchestra. That for me would be, that would be like
brilliant.
An icing on the music.
Good.
Okay, like having heard what they can do with like 2 amazing rock bands. Yeah, that sold it for me. 100% would love to do that. We could ever even do a song, let alone do a full show and live album. To have a song with like a full orchestra like that. Yeah, that'd be awesome for me.
It'd be brilliant.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Come on, it's got to be like George Lynch or.
Yeah, but then I'm redundant in all of these.
This guy, honestly, you cannot compliment him.
Right. In this scenario, they look at you and go, "Wow, you're on my level here. That's impressive." Like,
it's got to be Slash then. I'd love to be on that level.
There you go.
That's fair enough.
Yep.
So, despite the fact Tom has just went to the last question, he's made me think of another one. So it's not. This one might be though. You can build a band. Okay. You take 4 people. Take a drummer from one band, a singer from another, put them together. What does your band of 4 or 5 look like?
Do they have to be alive?
No.
Right.
No.
Chris Cornell on vocals.
Oh.
Do you want to contribute?
Are we doing a joint?
I don't know.
Should we do a joint?
Can do.
Or individual? Yeah, should we do a joint?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a joint. So Chris Cornell on vocals. I would say Tremonti? Or do I let you choose the guitarist?
No, you choose the guitarist. I'll choose the drummer.
You can have two guitarists.
That's true.
Never lead them back in.
Backing guitarist.
Hear Tremonti singing with playing for Chris Cornell will just be.
Because he could do the backing vocals as well.
I
know. Yeah.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. Who do we have?
Duff McKagan on bass.
Duff McKagan on bass. Drums, I would. Oh, that is a.
I mean, either way, there's only one drummer that I would anyway go for. If this is my question, I'd go for the Rev like 1,000 times over nothing. Just because I'm a big old fan of Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
If it was me, obviously you'd go John Bonham, obviously, but I'd go John Fredion.
I was just going to say John Fredion.
John Fredion.
Yeah.
Best drummer I've seen live.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, vocalist, it would be between Mars Kennedy or Kurt Cobain. Like one of those two. Both of them very unique vocals, so they could be interchangeable. In this band, they're both fighting to get in anyway because they've heard that I am orchestrating it. So,
to be fair, my thing is a bit of a joker card. Michael Starr from Steel Panther, just because I very much love Steel Panther.
Steel Panther is brilliant.
I would like to see them live, to be fair.
I saw them at Download this year and they were just fucking brilliant.
I saw the video clips. The Aussie thing was just
stupid but fucking amazing.
Yes, there was another category for who writes all of the music that the rest of your band performs. Definitely just Steel Panther.
Yeah.
Just like
the whole band writes it as a whole.
Definitely. But yeah, that's me done. Tom, is that you done?
That is me done. So
anything else that you two want to add, or?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
That's been really
thanks
cool.
For coming
Pleasure is all ours.
Yeah, man. It's been wicked.
Yeah, it's been great. All right, yeah, but add the socials, please. I base my entire self-purpose and worth off of the validation of strangers on the internet, so it means a lot. Maybe even like and subscribe, because I feel like I'm obligated to say that in this format of content. And thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah,
we've
thank
been
you
the
so
Uncensored
much.
Podcast, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. See you later.